Maximum the Hormone has become one of Japan's most iconic bands, known for their music featured in anime like... They are an explosive, genre-defying four-piece that has captured the attention of millions of people around the world. But who are they exactly? Where did they come from? And what the is going on around here? Little is known about them outside of Japan, so I'm gonna share what I've found throughout 10 plus years of being a fan. Japan's copyright laws are more strict than those in the US, so I'll try my best to stay within the fair use guidelines. I'm also not Japanese and live in Dallas, so the information I'm sharing comes from my own experience and research. Maximum the Hormone, or is characterized by their sound that combines hardcore punk, nu metal, death metal, pop, rock, ska, funk, just to name a few. Imagine if Red Hot Chili Peppers and System of a Down had a child that was Japanese and even crazier. The name Maximum the Hormone comes from the Japanese barbecue hormone, which is like grilled intestines or innards. It has somewhat of an ambiguous meaning, but that's like everything that goes with the band. They're known for their aggressive yet catchy music and their high-energy live performances. They've got a cohesive sound, they're all vocalists, and each have their own unique personalities. So they're made up of Nao Kawakita on drums, her little brother Ryo Kawakita on guitar and vocals, Daisuke Tsuda on vocals and additional instruments, and of course Uehara Futoshi on the bass. So right off the bat, what sets them apart is that Nao is a female drummer and a singer, and she's actually like amazing at both. It's not rare to see a girl drummer or one that sings as well, but I think she does it the best. Her influences include some Japanese hardcore and rock bands, most notably Space Combine. They use their song Marchin' Mint Flavors as their walk-up song whenever they play live. Daisuke Tsuda, or Daisuke-han, is their vocalist, their harsh vocalist, like the death metal vocalist or their rapper. He's known for using some crazy techniques and flexes his vocals in a lot of their songs. He plays additional percussion like the bongos, sometimes keyboard, and you can even see him drumming in some songs. So he's not singing all the time, right? And when he's not singing, you can see him dancing and jumping like crazy, like their cheerleader. I think it's a good move because it gives him a break during live performances so his vocals stay fresh whenever he does come back in. Uehara Futoshi is their bass player, citing his main influence as the Red Hot Chili Peppers, or more specifically, Flea. You can hear him slapping all the time, but he uses a bunch of different techniques too, like picking and tapping. He's their secret weapon, in my opinion. He's a backup vocalist mainly, but you can hear him carrying some other vocal parts by himself. He's known for his playful and humorous personality on and off the stage, and he's kind of known as the band's wisdom. And we have Ryo Kawakita, or Maximum the Ryo. He's pretty much the mastermind of the band, which is interesting because he wasn't a founding member. I guess he must have always been involved because he's credited with the artwork for their demos. The lyrics he writes appear to be nonsensical and meaningless, but we'll get to that later. Let's talk about their history. They were founded in 1997 by Nao and Daisuke, who were 22 and 20 respectively. They come from Hachioji, Japan, which is the western part of the Tokyo Metroplex. Originally, on guitar they had a guy named Ki, and on bass a guy named Sugi. They self-released 2 demo cassette tapes, one in 1997 and one in 99. After gaining some traction through playing live shows, they signed to Sky Records and produced their first album, ASA Crew, on August 29th, 1999. Here they're already combining genres, but this album's more of a punk rock album compared to the rest of their work. Ki and Sugi would leave the band shortly after. So in 1999, Nao recruited her little brother Ryo to play guitar and sing. In junior high, he was already playing guitar and he already could kind of sing. He was like the easy fit to go into their band. Uehara Futoshi, who I believe was already an established figure in the Japanese punk rock community, would complete their lineup as bassist and backup vocalist. They would also rebrand by writing Maximum the Hormone in katakana instead of English letters? To reflect the change in their lineup. They would release the EP Bullpen Catcher's Dream on August 30th, 1999. So this is the only release with the lineup where all songs are credited to Daisuke. They would already be splitting up vocals, they had a new sound incorporating a lot more slap and funk, but you can tell that they're still really young in this one. They would release their first album together entitled Ho or Ootori on February 14th, 2001. This is the first release where Ryo is credited with the songwriting. Nao's vocals are also more present, where you can hear her singing some choruses by herself. After that release, they would sign with Mimi Kajiru Records, which I think means bite the ear in Japanese, and would release the single Niku Cup on May 29th, 2002. It features 2 songs that would appear on their later albums, Anal Whiskey Ponce and Johnny Tetsupai. They would rewrite and re-record many of their songs, and it's hard to find the original versions of them if you don't live in Japan. Then they would release their official first album together, Mimi Kajiru, on October 23rd, 2002. Banger! Ryo's creative songwriting and composition start to shine, and their overall sound becomes more unique and more of the Maximum the Hormone that we know today. It's a very hardcore punk album with a lot of metal influence. They'd also released their first music video for Abara Bob. Look how young they are. Daisuke is like a Japanese Henry Rollins. The first track on that album, Nigure Tutsu, would pop off as one of their most popular songs, and they'd often play it as their last song live. A translation I found has many variations of so I often find myself looking up translations for their songs with the help of Google and AI. But I've come to find that even their Japanese fans don't know what the hell they're talking about. Many of their lyrics are nonsensical or ambiguous, so no 2 translations are the same. They're often like vulgar and gross, like tongue-in-cheek and funny. They talk a lot about food in their songs, but Ryo does incorporate more serious themes like pain, bullying, depression, societal problems, and themes like that. They go through a lot of different emotions in their songs. It would start off all cute and high energy and then turn into something super dark just to remind you that not everything's sunshine and rainbows, or it would be the opposite. After that, they'd release their EP Enzuski Waru on September 23rd, 2003. I believe it's a play on words, like on the word senton, which is like a Japanese pro wrestling move where you do like a front flip and then punch the guy as you're coming down. But yeah, I believe that was the first time they provided music for anime. On January 21st, 2004, they released their EP Kusoban. It features more pop elements than before, more metal, and some reggae even in their songs. Just look at the album art. I don't know if I have to like censor it for YouTube, but I guess that says a lot about who they are. Shortly after this release, they would sign to VAP, which is like a major Japanese record label. They'd stay with them for many years. And let me tell you, their production value on VAP is a step up from their earlier works. I think their songs start to have better composition. They have more elements of pop and rock, which makes it more radio friendly, I guess. And the overall sound production is better too. On June 23rd, 2004, they'd release the single Rakuben Kurase and Minoreba Rock, both of which got their own music videos. Minoreba Rock is a hidden gem, and not many people have even like heard of that song or even know about it. Not many people know about Maximum the Hormone. Then on November 24th, 2004, they would release their next single, Honcho Hasami Cutter Knife Dos Kiri / Ray Ma. Greatest name for a single ever.
Who would disagree?
They'd also release a music video for Honcho Hasami Cutter Knife Dos Kiri. On March 2, 2005, they released their first full-length album with VAP, Rockin'Bo Goroshi. It is straight fire the whole way through. This one peaked at number 27 on the Oricon charts, which is like the Japanese Billboard Top 100. They would tour sold-out shows and release their first DVD, Debu vs. Debu. Alright, now we're getting into their more mainstream stuff that you might have already heard. 2005 to 2007 was where they found.
Great success.
On November 16th, 2005, they released Zawa Zawa. That features What's Up People, which served as the second intro for the anime Death Note. That second season of Death Note aired on November 3rd, 2002, so just like a couple weeks before this EP was released. They've got a music video for What's Up People too. Akagi is another song on this EP that would also be the opening for another anime of the same name. It peaked at number 14 on the charts. A few months later, they released the EP Koi no Mega Lover on July 5th, 2006. That song would reach number 9 on the Summer Oricon charts, which would be the first time that they broke into the top 10. And what's surprising is that music like that really wasn't making top 10 in Japan. They released a music video for that one too. The song is targeted at their female audience and talks about the role of women in relationships. This EP also features one of my favorite songs by them too, Louisiana Bob. It has two other songs that I can't pronounce, but they only show up on that EP and not on the album released later. Side note, I highly recommend that you check out these singles and EPs if you can. There's a lot of B-sides and songs that don't appear on their albums. They're also good. I think they're also great. And now, their next album, Bu-iikikaesu, would be released on March 14th, 2007, reaching number 5 on the charts and is certified gold. It has those previously mentioned songs along with Zetsubo Billy, which, as you might already know, is the ending theme for the second season of Death Note. It would get its own music video, along with Bu-iikikaesu and Bikini Sports Punchin'. Those two songs, What's Up People and Zetsubo Billy, would catapult them into the mainstream. Because, Death Note was such a successful anime. God, dude, I remember being 10 and finding these songs, and then going on LimeWire to download their album. Oh, this is probably my favorite album by them. If I were to introduce anyone to this band, this would be the first album that I tell them to listen to. I feel like you can get a really good general understanding of who they are. They would tour more sold-out shows, then release their second live DVD, Deco vs. Deco. And I even remember watching this one on YouTube when it was still up on YouTube, just being amazed at their performance. Their energy is contagious even on this side of the screen. Come to America, please. Just a little more than a year later, they'd release the singles Tsume 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 /F on July 9th, 2008. This CD would hit number 2 on the Oricon charts. Tsume 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 would get a super sick music video too. The song F is supposedly about Frieza, or at least mentions Frieza, and would be featured in Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F as the battle theme, or Frieza's theme. You know who Frieza is, right? You've heard of Dragon Ball Z, right? From 2008 to 2010, they would tour, this time going to UK and Europe, and went on a couple of hiatuses. First, Daisuke got throat surgery, and then Nao got pregnant and had a baby in 2010. And when the two of them were ready, they would go off hiatus and record some new music. On March 23rd, 2011, they would release Greatest Hits 2011 to 2011, which would debut at number 1 on the Oricon weekly singles charts. It features Utsukushiki Hitobito no Uta as their first track. It's about depression and societal pressures in Japan. Maximum the Hormone is another track that basically explains who they are. There's many references to their previous works. This song would receive a music video along with Chisana Kimi no Te, where it's just old footage of them playing in a field, which is really cute. After this release, they tour Europe and South Korea for the first time. They would release their next album, Yoshu Fukushu, on July 23rd, 2013. It's their most successful album, reaching number 1 on the charts for 3 consecutive weeks and is certified platinum. This album is sort of an episode 0 about Maximum the Hormone and Rio in general. It talks about junior high, as you could tell by the album art. Schooling, adolescence, basically dives into Ryo's mind as a teenager. Yoshu Fukushu roughly translates to Great Revenge, but I've seen Pre-Attack and Revenge or Plotting Revenge. The album was released with a manga written by Ryo and commissioned by several famous manga artists. Oh, and in the intro, that's actually Nao screaming. She has some harsh vocals and screams sprinkled into their music as background vocals, but this is one of the only ones where it's just her. Oh, and Alien would get a nice music video too. They would release their third live DVD, Deca vs. Deca, on November 13th, 2015. They released it as a box set DVD. I believe there was 3 DVDs, a Blu-ray, and another album. Well, I'd say it's more of a mini album. The CD is a re-recording of Mimi Kajiru, most of the songs at least. But yeah, the re-recorded versions are way different from the original ones. Afterwards, they'd say goodbye to VAP and sign to Warner Music Japan. It's a super big deal, super big label. Warner, you ever heard of them? And on November 28th, 2018, they'd release a 4-song EP titled, I'm not gonna read that. It features the songs Maximum the Hormone 2, Golden Guy, a re-recording of Hayani Spain from Rockinpo Garoshi, and a tribute song to their former label. Maximum the Hormone 2 and VAP would get their own music videos. And I guess the whole point of that song and this EP is that Rio lost a ton of weight. I believe the song is a message to the Maximum the Hormone fans who preferred him when he was fat. They'd released the song Hungry Pride in 2019 along with a music video on YouTube, play more shows, mainly in Japan. Then on June 24th, 2021, we got a new song by them, or at least half of a new song by them, called Kamigami TV Edit, which serves as the opening for the anime Record of Ragnarok. Then on January 12th, 2022, they'd release their fourth live DVD, Dura Dura Dura, or Dura vs. Dura. There's a lot of visual effects on this DVD. You can see their song Kyokatsu on their YouTube channel. And it plays into the pandemic where everyone's wearing masks and costumes. It's also kind of like a short film. There's a plot, but I don't really know what's going on around there. Along with that release was Tokyo Neo Social Distance 2022. This is where they're playing in like a warehouse or just a room with at most 10 people in a crowd at once. So this one was for a lot of their like die-hard fans, and they play a lot of their older songs. And along with that, they have a remake of Heisei Strawberry Vibe, renamed to Reiwa Strawberry Vibe because of the new era, right? The new emperor in Japan. And they would re-record and make a music video for WHU. If you can find it, it has some clips of their early footage too, which is, you know, it's always interesting to see them when they're younger. On October 26, 2022, they'd release an insert song and the third ending theme for Chainsaw Man, Hawatari Nuko wa Senchi. And in 2023, they're still playing shows and festivals all over Japan. No news for a new album, but Rio said that they'll make a new album when they feel like it. Typical. Being a fan of Maximum the Hormone in the West is pretty hard. Like, not everyone knows who they are. There's definitely a language barrier. Not everything is on YouTube. Well, very little is on YouTube. And Spotify doesn't even have all of their music. There's a subreddit for Maximum the Hormone where people go and just talk about Maximum the Hormone. They're so much fun. I love them. Literally my favorite band. I don't think anyone sounds like them by a long shot. They're my go-to feel-good music. And like, okay, I don't understand a fucking thing that they're saying, but I listen to them every day. When I listen to their music, they always take me on a ride through different emotions, right? Because, I don't know, for me, I'm not always feeling like one emotion at a time, right? I kind of have different things going on. It's cathartic listening to them. People say they're like a Japanese heavy metal band or a J-rock band, but that puts it like just so plainly because they go through so many different genres. I just wish more people knew about them, which is why I made this video. I just wanted to share what I know about Maximum the Hormone. This is my first video, so I hope you thought it was great. I rate 8 out of 8. Please no hate. So yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, subscribe, like this video. I might do another video on Maximum the Hormone, so stay tuned for that maybe.